a great day for America. Welcome, everyone. Thank you for coming. We stand here today on the shoulders of heroes and in the company of angels. We look across to the Massachusetts 57th, heroes of the Civil War. We look to our right to the statue of a son of Massachusetts, himself scarred by war, who rose to the highest office in this land. James Garfield, himself a veteran of the Civil War, stated that for love of country, they accepted death. And with those words, honored his fellow veterans. We, who have seen the noblest and brightest of our generation step forward, and many not return, know what those words mean. We've lived by those words. Our comrades have died by those words. What is not acceptable is 22. 22 veterans a day commit suicide. That's close to a platoon. If a platoon a day was being lost in Afghanistan, 3 divisional commanders would lose their jobs, and there'd be 18 congressional investigations going on. It's unacceptable. Wait lists are unacceptable. Hidden appointment lists are unacceptable. On behalf of the Legislative Veterans Caucus, I stand here with my brothers and sisters, comrades in arms, our supporters, our colleagues in the House and the Senate. We say it's unacceptable. We're drafting a resolution to present to President Obama, calling upon him to do a top-down investigation of the VA and of the cause of these horrendous suicides. And when you sign up, you write a check up to and including your life to the people of the United States of America. That check shouldn't have to be cashed when you come home. We're joined by tremendous friends here today from veterans advocacy groups, from our friends in labor, our friends in the advocacy community. It's my pleasure now to introduce to you the Chief Executive Officer, the Director of the Mass Fallen Heroes Fund, our dear friend, my fellow Iraq veteran, Dan Magoon.
Thank you, everybody. Before I share my comments, I'd like to call Shannon Jackman up to sing the national anthem.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light, once so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streamed, and the rockets' red glare, their bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Thank you, Shanna. That'll definitely get you fired up on a day like today. I'm very proud to stand with you all today as we come together as a cohesive group to address the ongoing issues our Government and Veterans Administration has faced since our soldiers, sailors, Marines, airmen, and Coast Guardsmen started to return home in 2003. Today we stand together to shed light and address the ongoing issues plagued at our VA. After the most recent cases in Cheyenne, St. Louis, Texas, North Carolina, and Colorado, it is very apparent that the Veterans Administration healthcare system is broken and it's time to fix it. The time has come for accountability and a change and we need to urge our leaders in Washington to take a hard stance on the issue and to support a bipartisan commission on the VA medical care process. We've been down this road, unfortunately, in the past, and we failed our most wounded troops when they returned home for care at Walter Reed back in 2004. We failed our men and women when the whistle blew in 2004 and we did not see reform until 2007. We had a broken system then, and thanks to congressional leadership, the remedies and repairs to our brave heroes were addressed, and today Walter Reed serves our returning veterans with the best care. The issues we come here today are not new issues that we face as a nation. While many in the media and many folks in this country are glued to TMZ and the latest sports controversy, as Representative Naughton stated, we're losing 22 men and women each day to suicides. After 12 years of war, we've lost too many brave heroes overseas. This past March, we lost 0 Americans in Afghanistan, but here at home, we lost 22 by veterans who were still at war in their mind. We are failing our returning veterans in our VA hospitals with long waits and horrible backlogs. The system is broken, and it's time to fix it. We must stand together and support this resolution our legislators of this Commonwealth are putting forth to seek reform from our government. We must also support our veterans and our military families here in Massachusetts, along with Secretary of Health and Human Services John Planowitz and Secretary of Veteran Services Nee, as we continue to set the standard for veterans' care and benefits here in the Commonwealth. Thank you.
Thank you, Dan, and thank you for all of your great work. As we roll on, I will try to mention some of the people visiting with us and some of our great members here that are with us. I did just see Senator Brewer come in, Representative Keith, Representative Rosa, DiNatale, Harrington, Ayers, Dykema, Hogan, Peake, Cusack, Silva, Representative Paracella, Howitt, Vincent, Gary, Schmidt, O'Day, Moran, Timilty, Basil, Nyman, Arell, D'Amelia, Stanley, Vieira, Nangle, Zlotnick, Andrews, Chan, Keefe, Roy, Ferranti, Deal, and if I've missed, I know I'm going to miss someone, so Angelo Scotia just came in. John Mahoney came in. Hand me the names as we go on. I'll make sure everybody gets announced, okay? Senator Spilka, how could I miss our friend with that lovely color on today, Senator Spilka? Thank you. We're joined by many, many supporters, not just the veteran members of the House and Senate, but those that support our veterans. We're going to hear some personal comments in a moment. I did want to point out that we do have Gold Star Dad with us, Kevin Duffy. Kevin, where are you? Thank you. Thank you, family. Gold Star Mother Victoria Foley is also with us. Victoria, thank you. Thank you for sharing your time. Thank you, Victoria. Representative Fiola is with us as well. Thank you, Representative. Joe Cook, come on up here. Joe Cook is going to give us a couple of concise comments about what his family went through when his son was waiting on the wait list for PTS treatment, and he'll tell you the rest of the story. It's a tragedy.
Thank you, Hank. Hank called me yesterday. I'm up to say a few words. Thank you, Danny. Thank you, all veterans. HM3 FMF, Timothy Dorcook, that was my son. I stand here before you in frustration that I could not get the proper services to help my son. And I'll say, Congress, our government, if you want our sons and daughters to serve our country, then start serving them properly at the VA. Waiting lists and quick spin rehabs to long-term problems are not the answer. When I call the crisis line, they tell me to call 911. That's not the answer. When I take my son to the VA and they load him up on meds, that's not the answer. When I try to get my son into a PTS program, only one 90-day program in the state, and they're backlogged with no beds, that is not the answer. When I see my son with a noose in his hand, and I feel his pain, and I can't get him help, I boil inside. When I stand before a judge and tell him I don't want to bury my son, and little is done, that is not the answer. when I buried my son, and a year later the VA has still not paid for his burial, that is a disgrace and dishonor. When I'm grieving and I have a senator tell me that PTS is a growing epidemic and a lack of funding for it, and we had spent $500 million on a defunct healthcare system, that is clearly dysfunction at its best. Okay? Take out your earbuds, America. There are 22 vets a day dying in this country. We need a serious, extended outreach in our communities for our veterans. The veterans give us liberty. Now let's give them justice they deserve. Action speaks louder than words, as my mother used to say. I say march and shout, people. Tell Congress to step out or get out. Thank you.
Joe, thank you very much. Thank you for sharing, Joe. We know it can't be easy. Thank you for continuing to do what you do. We were joined by also Rep. Gordon, Rep. Livingstone, Rep. Farley-Bouvier, Rep. Cantwell, and Rep. Dooley. At this time, I'd like to introduce a member of the Legislative Veterans Caucus, a proud veteran of the United States Navy, my neighbor in central Massachusetts, Representative Steve DiNatale from Fitchburg.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. You've already heard how the system, the medical system for the veterans in this country is broken. Proper care is simply non-existent. This is a failure and it has been known for some time. We call upon the federal government to take swift and decisive action in addressing this problem. It is huge and we need to address it now. And we call upon the President to initiate this approach. Thank you.
Thank you, Representative. I'd like to note the presence of Boston Veterans Commissioner Francisco Urena. Commissioner, thank you for being with us. You do a fantastic job here in the city. Representative Rodericks is, Senator Rodericks, though he was, and Representative Cullinane have joined us. So thank you. At this time, I'd like to invite to the podium someone who does a tremendous job as a leader and of programmatic work for veterans here in the Commonwealth of all the services. You know, we're not here really as much to point fingers as we are to draw attention and draw light to this issue. Massachusetts, as in so many other things, is the leader in the country on veteran services, and there's no one more responsible than that than the next gentleman, a proud veteran of the United States Marine Corps, our Secretary of Veterans Affairs, Coleman Nee. Thanks for representing the administration here, Coleman.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, all of you that are here today. The Chairman's absolutely right. We do lead the nation in veteran services, and the reason we do so is because of the passion and the energy that the veterans in this Commonwealth put forth every day, and that's especially demonstrated by all of you here today, and I want to thank all of you for showing up. You all deserve a good round of applause for taking the time to do this. I want to thank the Governor, all the elected officials that are here today, my commanding officer, Secretary John Polanowicz, United States Army veteran, as well as to all the legislators that are here today. And I really mean this. The thing I love about Massachusetts is you don't only go to the rallies and speak, but you then turn around and you go back into that chamber and you take action. Senator Brewer just reminded me that in the last few years, we've increased veteran services benefits money here in the Commonwealth by 44% for outreach and for homelessness services and shelters. That is a testament to the legislators that are here today and their advocacy on your behalf. I know there are many issues facing the VA, and I join with you in calling for accountability of that, and how do we get to the bottom of it. But I also think it would be a tremendous lost opportunity for us if we left here feeling to the general public that VA is the only solution to our problems. VA is not the only solution to our problems. We're in Massachusetts. We look at veteran services as a trilateral sort of approach. It's VA, it's the state, and more importantly, it's our community and our community-based providers who that work gets done. And there are some great community providers here in the Commonwealth. I saw General Hammond from Home Base here today. I know we have the folks from Train Vets to Treat Vets, folks from New England Center for Homeless Veterans. Using those resources, we can address this issue. It is not a resource issue, it is a resource navigation issue, and we need to do more to encourage veterans to take advantage of their benefits and their services, not only at VA, but if they have barriers at VA, come see us at the state, come see our SAVE team. Gabe Nutter's here today. You'll see him with Gabe and his service dog, Sammy. Come see them. We will make sure they get the resources and the benefits they need, VA or not VA, to ensure that those young men and women who have worn the uniform and served this nation proudly know that we want to make good on our commitment to them and keep them safe and secure when they come home and feel appreciated and get the benefits and services that they not only deserve, but that each and every one of them most assuredly earn. Thank you for doing this.
Thank you. Thank you for all of your service. We're proud to have my vice chair from the great city of Brockton, Representative Michael Brady, and with us we also have my neighbor. We share a district in Northborough, Representative Danielle Gregoire. It just shows the broad breadth of support veterans have in the legislature. Coleman touched on a great point. This is a community. When I was deployed to Kandahar, Afghanistan 2 years ago, we had a couple of young soldiers commit suicide over the course of the deployment. We felt we had failed them. We felt we had failed them as a unit. It was incredibly heart-wrenching. But this 22, we're failing them as a society. We're failing them as a nation. We're failing them in their obligation. It is a community effort. And one point about a fellow who we asked to speak, but he's too humble and declined. Secretary John Polanowitz. Talk about a guy who's had to step up and catch the slings and arrows lately. And he's done yeoman's work. He's made his alma mater, the United States Military Academy at West Point, incredibly proud. I don't know anybody else that could have pulled together and put those agencies under his command on the right track. Secretary Polanowitz, thank you for your leadership. Thank you for being here with us today. Senator DiDomenico has joined us. Thank you, Senator. We appreciate it. At this time, I'd like to introduce again another colleague of mine from Central Massachusetts, proud veteran of the United States Air Force, Representative Dennis Rosa from Leominster. Dennis?
Thank you so much for being here today. Suicide in any family is a devastation. I can speak from the truth. It happened in my family, not to a veteran, but it happened twice. It tears your heart out. It'll affect your family for the rest of your life. It affects your friends. As a Vietnam veteran returning from overseas in the 1970s, I saw this broken system take place and what happened to Vietnam veterans. It's happening all over again. Many of us swore we would never, ever let it happen again. So I'm asking you to reach in your heart, write letters to Congress, support your elected officials, and let's fix this problem for once and for all. It's a shame, it's sinful that we're letting this happen again. Thank you.
Dennis, thank you. Thank you for sharing. It's not easy. We're joined by representatives, and again, if I miss anyone, please feel free to speak up or send a note up. From the DAV, Veterans of Foreign Wars, the American Legion, Mass Fallen Heroes, Veterans Advocacy Services, PFFM, the Professional Firefighters of Massachusetts. Thank Boston Fire Department for their help with the sound system. Department of Veteran Services, AM Vets, and plumbers and pipe fitters. And so if I've missed any entity, please let me know. It's certainly not by intent. Feel free to send a note up. Senator Lovely has joined us. Thank you, Senator. We really appreciate your presence. At this time, another person who's done Massachusetts proud, not only leading veterans and advocacy for veterans here in Massachusetts, but on the national level, former national commander of the American Legion, our friend Jake Comer. Jake.
Thank you very much, Hank. I appreciate the kind introduction, and to all the representatives and senators here assembled, we really appreciate your support. I'd certainly like to single out my own from Quincy, Tacky Chan, and a good man down here and from Squantum area in Quincy. And I know my own representative could not be here, Ron Mariano. He's up with the speaker, I know, or else he would be here. But the American Legion, the largest veterans organization in the world, took a very serious step last week when I was there with the national commander in Indianapolis. We talked about General Eric Shinseki, a career soldier and Vietnam veteran. The Secretary of the Department of Veterans Affairs has served his country well. His patriotism and sacrifice for this nation are above reproach. However, his record as the head of the Department of Veterans Affairs tells a different story. It's a story of poor oversight and failed leadership, along with two undersecretaries, Bob Petzel and Allison Hickey. I would like to take the opportunity to read to you a resolution passed at our meeting last week in Indiana. Because this is where the American Legion feels we put our money where our mouth is. Whereas persistent management failures at the Pittsburgh VA Medical Center led to an outbreak of Legionnaire's disease, which left 6 patients dead. And whereas despite 4 preventable patients' deaths at the Atlanta VA Medical Center, 3 of which were linked to widespread mismanagement by the Inspector General of the Department of Veterans Affairs, no employees responsible for the mismanagement linked to the deaths were fired. And whereas, according to CNN, at least 40 U.S. veterans died while waiting for health care at the Phoenix VA, many of whom were placed on a secret waiting list. Last evening alone, there was a hearing in Phoenix where they had a town government which lasted all over into midnight. Those people are mad, and I don't blame them. And whereas, according to Dr. Samuel Foote, a retired Phoenix VA clinician, when veterans requested a medical appointment, their info would be entered into hospital computers but not saved. A screen grab of the actual appointment data was printed, added to the secret electronics list, then shredded, erasing any public record that the actual appointment was made. And whereas National Commander Daniel Dellinger called for the resignation of Secretary Sinchecki and other high-ranking officials of the Department of Veterans Affairs for good and cogent reasons. And whereas we applaud Mike Commander for his leadership and vision and his call for the resignation of the Department of Veterans Affairs Secretary, Undersecretary of Health, Veterans Health Administration, and Undersecretary for Benefits, Veterans Benefits Administration. Now therefore be it resolved by the National Executive Committee of the American Legion in regular meeting assembled in Indianapolis, Indiana on May 7th, 8th, 2014, that the American Legion urged the President of the United States and members of Congress to immediately request the resignation of the Secretary of Veterans Affairs, Undersecretary for Health, Veterans Health Administration, and Undersecretary for Benefits, Veterans Benefits Administration. Because when we hear, we forget. And when we see, we remember. It's when we do, we understand. God bless you all.
Jake, thank you very much. Thank you, Jake. We've got some of our friends here. Maura Healy, candidate for attorney.